All right, it's preparing to live stream.
Is Renee here? Is Renee on?
Yes, I think she was muted. Okay, I think we are live now. So we should be ready to go.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order then. Are there any public comments?
Let me log in. We didn't have any earlier today, but let me make sure that we. Let me log in and just double check the emails for that. There are no public comments.
Okay, thank you. Is there any correspondence?
I do not have any correspondence to share.
Okay. Did everybody have a chance to glance at the minutes? And if so, could we have a motion for approval?
Latina, motion for approval.
Metcalf, second. And just quick, that is for the February. Is that for February and March? Or we don't need to do March since we didn't formally meet, right?
I do have it written to do both in one motion.
Okay.
Any further conversation? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Renee, like to give us a financial update?
Yes, but do we want to go back to one?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, on the agenda, we had the first one, a motion to approve the video conference meeting based on House Bill 197.
Oh, okay.
Latina, motion to approve.
Metcalf,
Kirkowski,
second.
second. Oops.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thanks for catching that.
Sure.
How about a financial report?
The February and March financials, there's nothing unexpected. As you can see, fortunately, we did collect our first half of property taxes. They came in as expected, a little bit higher, so that's good. Everything else is, right on track. I don't know if you have any questions.
Latina, motion to approve financial reports from February and March of 2020.
I said second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, do you have any other financial information to report?
I just wanted to remind you that in May, we normally have our scheduled budget review. I have reached out to the auditor, Portage County Auditor's Office, if they have any direction on what we should do with the revenue. Everybody is, anticipating a decline in the PLF and the property taxes. There could be more than normal delinquent taxes, but at this point, it's too early to really tell the impact. So I will have more information as we prepare for that. As of right now, I haven't heard of any extensions on the budget. The auditor's office have the state auditor's office did do some other extensions. Fortunately, we had our appropriations approved, but some districts didn't, so they did give them an extension on the permanent appropriations. But we're all good to go, and Stacy and I will be working on the budget in the next few weeks for the May meeting, unless something changes with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Renee, did you want to talk about the PLF reduction right now?
Just the anticipation of what it could be, or
Just what it already was for March?
like, unfortunately, for what it came out in April, the reduction, I don't remember the number, Stacy. Do you?
Well, the general revenue fund, according to OLC, was down with their sales tax and income tax revenues about 10.5% during the month of March. That ended up showing up in our PLF payment for March as a 7.5% reduction in what we were expecting. And then we anticipate April will be a more significant decrease as well, because all of the retail and stores that are closed, the state is not collecting as much sales tax. And then with all the unemployment, income tax will also be down pretty substantially during the month of April.
But fortunately, our PLF for March was still up $6,000 over last year, so we're still not in any danger.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Unfinished business.
I put on the agenda just a quick update about the Ohio Governor Imagination Library. Once all the public libraries in the state started to close, the governor really encouraged any counties that had not already opened up their Imagination Library to get theirs started, even if they weren't financially ready to do so with their fundraising. So Portage County's Imagination Library is open now for all children age 0 through 5 in the county. And they're going to kind of worry about the fundraising part of it later. But we were urged and encouraged by the governor to open all the counties that hadn't gone live yet. So we are live. So if you know any families that could benefit, they can go to the Ohio Governor's Imagination Library website and register now.
Okay.
Have you heard any feedback on the program?
I have not heard from any Kent families directly. I did see a couple teachers in the district post Facebook posts about it being available to their students. So, but I haven't heard directly through anyone contacting the library or me directly.
I was just curious about statewide. Did they launch
I
this
think,
other areas?
I believe all the counties, there might be like a handful, 5 to 10 that aren't live currently, but the governor's office was pushing everyone to get open once libraries closed.
Okay.
This is Chris. I can share that I became a new grandmother over this wild time in March, and I registered my granddaughter, who's actually in Cuyahoga County, but nonetheless, we at least got her registered with the Imagination Library.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Chris.
Just waiting to get my hands on that little girl, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's good and healthy though, so we're counting our blessings.
That's
That's
the main
good.
thing.
We look forward to seeing pictures when we can get together.
Of course.
I
Okay,
didn't
anything
have other unfinished
else
business.
about this? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't have any other unfinished business on the agenda.
Okay. New business?
Yeah, Renee and I have been speaking to OLC and to other libraries nearby in our local area and across the state. Most of them are doing what I've recommended so far, is paying their employees based on their emergency policies. Renee, do you want to talk about how you reached out to?
I reached out to the state auditor's office and the local government services to see, to try to determine if the state had come out with any recommendations or requirements on it. And they have not. There have not been any bulletins released at this point.
So at this point, Renee and I do want to recommend that we continue to pay wages for our employees. Essential managers are continuing to work from home and sometimes in the library. And then some of our professional staff are continuing to produce online content and social media content for us. So we'd like to recommend that we continue to pay them. And OLC suggested that every board, even if we have an emergency policy or a pandemic policy, that we do get a resolution from each board, is what OLC is recommending.
Stacy, I have a question.
Sure.
And it's mostly for my information, and as we as a business are also dealing with this same notion. So you have, it's similar to ours. You have most of the people at home, you're paying everyone, that's what we're doing. But you do have some people working from home and some actually even coming in. So you don't differentiate when it comes to pay. Everyone is being paid the same benefits and pay, but some people are working and some people are just at home not working.
That is correct. That's how we're currently operating.
Got it. We are in the same boat, and it's the longer it goes, at some point it does create some disparity, but we don't have a way to deal with it. So everyone gets paid the same, and some people work from home, some people work in the building, very few, just a couple of them, and then but everyone gets paid the same.
Yeah, that's what we have currently been doing. Like, for example, our student employees that shelve books, there's really nothing they can do from home, and we don't want them in the building just out of caution for their safety and everyone else's safety. So we do recommend continuing to pay them, even though they're not able to do any work at this time.
Yeah.
But our librarians, no one's working their full 37.5 hours per week from home, probably, but they are continuing to do some work and create social media content. The managers are designated as essential staff at the moment, and they continue to work along with myself and Renee. We're currently working on drafting plans for return to work. And thinking about what those phases might be as we try to think about what it would take for us to reopen, and then what kind of services we would start with and how we would level back up to normal if we're able to go back to normal at some point. So we're working currently on recommendations from each of our managers, from their departments, on what safety materials they would need for their staff, what modifications they might need to their departments for their staff to return. And what safety features we need to put in place for the patrons to be able to come and start using some of our services again too. So we are working on putting those kinds of plans together right now as a management team. And they continue ordering some library materials, although we're reducing the amount of materials we're purchasing. So there are things that our managers are doing also.
I would like to add, just to remind everyone, that we are a reimbursing employer for unemployment benefit purposes. So if we were to furlough and lay people off, we would get billed for their unemployment.
I'm in favor of paying anyone that is able to maintain what their level of pay was before this happened. So do we need a motion to approve this, Stacy?
We absolutely would need motions if there was no further discussion or questions.
I'm ready to make a motion unless someone else has more discussion. Okay, Latina, motion to approve.
I said second.
Any further discussion? Latina's really on a roll today.
I know.
All in
I
favor?
think Erin maybe has somewhere to go, I'm thinking. She wants to get on a Zoom call with someone else.
Yeah.
Happy hour. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, is there any other new business?
I don't have anything new to discuss.
Stacy, it's not really
Oh.
business, but was very pleased. I have to tell you, when you send the minutes and the information out prior to the meeting, I find it easiest. I don't read that information until about the night before the meeting. I don't read it a week ahead of time, just because otherwise it's not fresh in my mind. So yesterday, when I saw that story about the university asking for donations, or people who could help with the 3D printing, I hadn't read your report yet. So that's such a wonderful thing that the library is participating in that. How many face shields are you able to produce I don't know what the time frame is, or the capacity?
Yeah, just to bring everyone up to speed, the library was able to make contact with the Kent State Design Initiative that's currently working on PPE, printing PPE with 3D printers. And we are volunteering to help them with that project. So Mike Davis actually spearheaded our attempts at starting to print the PPE. So we originally started with one design that allowed us to print 2 headbands on each printer at a time. So we could produce 4 in a 2 or 2.5 hour time span. However, once we got hooked up with Kent State, they sent us a different file that they had modified with a different way for the actual plastic to come around the front of the face. And so that headband is a little bit larger than the other one. So we can only print 1 at a time on each printer. And it takes about 2 to 2.5 hours to print. So Mike and I have been rotating and taking turns coming to the building every 2 or 2.5 hours to remove the ones that are finished and restart the machines. I think we can get about 14 done in a day right now is how long it's taking us to do it. We agreed with Kent State that once we have batches of 50 of them put together at a time, then we'll drop them off at Kent State once we have 50. So we're kind of working in small batches at a time for 50 face masks.
Nice.
We did,
Every bit helps.
sorry, the ones that Mike started printing first, we are kind of holding those back right now to reserve for staff to use when we come back into the building.
Nice. Thanks
That's
for the update.
To the Record Courier interviewed me today about that project, so you'll probably see something in the Record Courier in the next day or two. They're coming tomorrow morning to take photos, so that'll be in the Record Courier soon.
Nice.
Stacy, if more than face shields, face masks are important and will be, both for you guys that are in the building now and definitely when things start to turn back on. We have so much supply chain through China, so if you guys need those disposable face masks, let me know, and you can just email me offline, and I can obviously just hand them off to you here in the neighborhood or whatever, now or later. And if you have a need for a much more, let's say your plan calls for patrons coming in and requiring to wear a mask, you might want to offer the masks, and so then your need might become a lot bigger. And so we have directly sourcing from China, have access to tons of them. So if needed, let me know and we can leverage that supply chain.
Okay, that's really good to know. I was on a call yesterday with about 28 other library directors in Northeast Ohio, and that was one of our biggest topics of discussion. Where are we going to get the supplies needed for the building in order to be able to safely reopen for our staff and for the public? That included hand sanitizer, face masks, Clorox wipes, all kinds of things. And most libraries don't have a way to access those yet. So even if the governor or OLC were to say that you can reopen, most libraries are feeling like they're not going to be ready to open because they can't get access to supplies they need.
And you could get a strategic way, might be to get ahead of the curve. When people react, it will be too late. Right now might actually be easier. We don't have an access to sanitizer, and of course liquids and alcohol is a bit harder to ship from China, but I'm sure you guys have heard, but Alpha Micron in the area just a mile away is producing a ton of it, and so they could be a really good source. And I know those guys really well. And if you want, we can, just offline can start to procure more. We're just for our use and some donations we've been donating to Coleman Professional Services and so on and so forth. I know in a week we're getting 5,000, another week we're gonna, but those are, from our perspective and our suppliers, those are relatively small batches, and so we can get in a week's time that much. But let's say 4 weeks from now, when every library and every other business starts to access similar supply chains, then likely it will be just like, oh yeah, we can get you a few thousand, but it will be a month.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, that's
Stacy, would
very
you have
good to
any
know.
need? Would you have any need for the home fabric masks for staff?
We talked about those on our call yesterday with the other directors. One library has already placed an order with a woman locally in their community to sew 3 fabric masks for every staff member, so that they would be supplied 3 masks, and then they could wash them in their washing machine every couple days, so that they would always have a fresh one. So that's what one library was doing. I haven't talked yet with the management team to kind of decide which avenue we want to try to think about. I know Mike is also planning, there is a 3D printed mask available that you can put a filter in. And he was going to print one of those as a prototype to see if we liked it. And we wanted to print those for all the staff members as well.
If you did, how many total staff members are there? So if you did 3 per staff member, how many masks are you talking?
We have 36 employees.
Okay.
So about 100, a little over, yeah.
Stacey, have you guys also kicked around the idea of like the sneeze guards? I don't know what, the plexiglass.
Yep. Yeah, we're talking about the benefits of which locations in the building need one, and if we should do the tabletop kind of furniture ones that stand on top of the furniture like the post office has, or in some locations if we could suspend them from the ceiling instead. So yeah, we're definitely already talking about all of that. And again, that's something that if those materials are available right now at Lowe's and Home Depot, that's something Mike and I have already talked about. He's pretty confident that he would be able to fashion what we needed from some of the home improvement stores and create them for us. He also has a contact at a local line company or print company that could also possibly help us get our hands on some materials for them as well.
Okay, thank you for the update, and thanks for all the input. Assad, thank you for the offer. That's very nice, and I agree with you. If we're out in front of the curve, it's probably going to be a little better because it'll get wild. Are there any other new business? Discussion items? Stacey, I would like to thank you once again, you and Mike, for participating in the farmers market. And I thought that was a real unique way of distributing seeds, since you had just launched the program and a week later or a couple days later, we had to close the library and all the seeds were sitting in the catalog. And you might want to share your successes that day.
Yeah, we were, Kristen Poole luckily had already packaged up, I think, 1,200 seed packets, and the seed library had just opened on March 16th, and we closed on the 17th. So people only had 1 day to access our seed library. Because Kristen already has her farmer's market booth at the market every week, she suggested maybe we could pass them out at the farmer's market, so she made that happen. And we had, I think, about a little over 100 people placed an online order the week leading up to the farmer's market. And the day of the market, we had, I think, about 85 patrons came through to pick up the seeds they had ordered. So it worked really well. Luckily, it was a really nice, sunny, warm day. We didn't get snowed on. So I think it was pretty successful. In fact, I think it was a little too successful. Kristen reported that the farmer's market
Good problem to have.
Definitely.
Well, it certainly is crowded on Saturdays.
Mhm.
Any other comments about the director's report? Any personnel issues? How
I
about
have no
continuing
personnel changes this month at all.
And no continuing ed? given
We
the
have, some of our
state
staff are taking online webinars while we've been closed. So because we're not in the building, I don't have a super good way to track those at the moment. So we have been participating in some free online webinars by our vendors, American Library Association, NEO, and OLC, but I don't have those listed yet. I'll try to get those compiled at some point for a future meeting.
Good. Okay, is there any need to go into executive session? Well,
No.
the next
No.
board meeting will be May 21st. Oh,
Fingers crossed.
3:30, and hopefully we'll be in person.
Yeah.
And if there isn't anything else for the good of the order, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. I noticed that Aaron was not gonna move on that one.
Okay, I'm going to end the live broadcast then and end our meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Great to
Stay
see
safe, be
everyone.
well.
Safe.
Bye-bye.